For millennia, humanity has been haunted by a memory of a great flood, a deluge that swallowed civilizations, a divine reset echoed in over 300 cultures across the globe. The most famous of these is the story of Noah, a righteous man, a giant boat, and a world reborn. But what if everything you've been told is a superficial veil, hiding a profound, esoteric truth? What if the ark was never a mere boat? What if the animals were never literal beasts? And what if the entire story is not a historical account, but a coded spiritual manual, a blueprint for navigating the greatest flood of all, the chaos of your own consciousness? You are watching New Fire. And tonight, we are decoding the Ark. Our journey begins with the source itself, the Book of Genesis. It gives us specific divine instructions for the Ark's construction. Let us examine them, not with the eyes of a shipbuilder, but with the mind of an initiate. First, the material. Gopher Wood. Botanists and historians have searched for this tree for centuries. It appears nowhere else. It is a ghost. This is our first clue. In esoteric tradition, the unknown Gopher Wood is seen as the primordial substance of creation, the fixed, structured element of the universe, sealed with pitch, a symbol of alchemical protection and insulation from the corrosive waters of chaos. But the real code lies in the numbers: 300, 50, 30. These are not random measurements. A vessel with a ratio of 30 to 5 to 3 is, by any nautical standard, hopelessly unseaworthy. It would be an unstable, wallowing box, destined to capsize. So why would a divine architect specify such a design? Because it was never meant to sail the physical oceans. It was designed to navigate the metaphysical ones. In the mystical Jewish tradition of the Kabbalah, these numbers are a direct link to the cosmic architecture of the universe. 300 is the number of the Hebrew letter Shin, representing divine fire and spirit. 50 is the number of the Jubilee, of freedom and the culmination of cycles. 30 is the number of maturity and priesthood. The 3 decks are not for waste, family, and animals. They are the 3 worlds of existence. The lower deck is the world of action, the realm of matter, instinct, and the physical body. The middle deck is the world of formation, the realm of the soul, emotion, and human consciousness. The upper deck is the world of creation, the realm of the spirit, intellect, and divine archetypes. The Ark is a microcosm, a universe in miniature, a model of the perfected human being, containing all levels of reality within a divinely proportioned vessel. Now let's examine the 2 key features, the door and the window. Genesis says God himself shut the door. This was not a practical measure. It was a spiritual one. In the esoteric sense, the single sealed door represents the point of no return on the spiritual path. Once the initiate enters the sacred space of transformation, once the waters of the unconscious and chaos begin to rise, there is no going back to the old world. The ego is sealed away. The journey inward is absolute. Then there is the window. The Hebrew word used is tsohar. While often translated as a window, ancient commentaries describe it not as a simple opening, but as a luminous gem, a glowing pearl, or a conduit of celestial light that illuminated the entire ark. This was no skylight. This was the Shekinah, the divine presence itself. It was the light of higher consciousness, the illumination from the upper world that sustains the initiate through the long night of the flood. The ark was a sealed system, powered from within by a connection to the divine. This brings us to the greatest mystery of all, the question that has puzzled every literal mind. How did Noah keep the animals from eating each other? Did the lion suddenly become a vegetarian? Were there endless cages? The very absurdity of the literal interpretation is the key that unlocks its true meaning. The answer is stunningly simple, and it has been hidden in plain sight. The animals were never literal creatures. In every mystery tradition, from alchemy to Kabbalah to Tantra, animals are symbols. They represent the primal, raw, and powerful forces of nature within the human psyche. The lion is the archetype of raw power, pride, and solar force. The lamb is the archetype of innocence, sacrifice, and gentleness. The serpent is the archetype of wisdom, healing, and cunning. The eagle is the archetype of perspective, freedom, and the spirit. Noah was not a zookeeper. He was an adept, a perfected human. His mission was not to save physical species from drowning, but to gather and preserve the primordial archetypes of creation within the sacred protected space of his own heightened consciousness. The two of every kind represents the fundamental law of duality, male and female, active and passive, positive and negative, that underpins all of manifested existence. But within the ark, a state of primordial harmony is achieved. This is a return to the state of Eden before the fall. In that state, there was no predation, because the forces of nature were in perfect, divine balance. The lion lay with the lamb, because the psychic force of power was perfectly balanced with the psychic force of gentleness. Noah, as the righteous one, had achieved this inner balance. He had tamed the beasts of his own nature. He had ordered the chaos of his instincts, his passions, and his intellect within the three-tiered structure of his being. The conflict ended because the state of consciousness that creates conflict, the state of separation and ego, had been dissolved by the rising waters of the flood. The flood itself is a symbol of the dissolution of the old world, the old ego, the old fragmented mind. The ark is the vessel of the new, integrated self. So the flood is not a punishment. It is a necessary dissolution. It is the pralaya of the Hindus, the great night between cycles of creation. It is the dark night of the soul that every initiate must pass through to be reborn. The 40 days and nights of rain represent a complete period of purification and testing. 40 is the number of gestation, of incubation. It is the time needed for the old self to die and the new self to be formed within the protective womb of the ark. And when Noah sends out the raven and the dove, he is testing the state of the new world. The raven, a creature of the material world, finds no rest. But the dove, the universal symbol of the peaceful and higher soul, returns with an olive leaf, the symbol of peace and the new greening life of the spirit. The covenant, the rainbow, is the final seal. It is the spectrum of light, proving that the one pure, white light of consciousness has been refracted into the beautiful diversity of the world, but it is a diversity now remembered as part of a unified whole. So, what does this mean for you, here and now? The story of Noah's Ark is not an ancient relic. It is a living, breathing allegory for your own spiritual awakening. The flood is the chaos of your life, the confusion, the fear, the negativity, the overwhelming flow of sensory input and unconscious reaction. The ark is the vessel you must build. It is your disciplined mind, your spiritual practice, your connection to the divine. Its proportions are the sacred principles of balance, wisdom, and compassion. And the animals? They are your inner drives, your anger, your passion, your fear, your love, your intellect. Your mission is not to kill them or cage them, but to invite them in, to acknowledge them, and to order them within the sacred space of your awareness, to bring them into a state of harmony so that the lion of your pride can lie down with the lamb of your vulnerability. The door is sealed when you commit to the inward journey, shutting out the distractions of the outer world. The luminous Zohar is lit when you connect to your own higher consciousness. You are Noah. The blueprint has been given. The flood waters are rising. The only question that remains is, will you build your ark? Until next time, seek the hidden